All right, let's talk about Lamar Jackson. For the first time in his career, will play in the conference championship game. This is not a repeat of the Tennessee Titans fiasco. This is a different team, and while it looked a little bit scary in the first half, this is definitely, we're going to talk about the positives and the negatives in this game. This was not a perfect game by the Ravens, and there's a lot, I'm sure, that this week they're going to go in and try and fix. I don't know if maybe some of it was simply just haven't played in a bit and, getting the rust off. But I don't think that was all of it. I think that there was actually some legitimate good, really some great scheme stuff by the Texans, and it took some, I thought, good decisions by the Ravens kind of to counter that in the second half that allowed them to finally get the offense going. Again, only 10 points in the first half, which isn't terrible, but, not what we're used to seeing from the MVP, of the league. Second half was a lot more like it. So yeah, let's just talk about, the good and the bad here for Baltimore. Let's start off with this play. It's going to be a 3rd down and 2. And when the Texans were getting stops, this was to me the biggest thing they were doing. I was actually surprised. I didn't expect them to come out like this, playing aggressive, which is not the strategy I thought they would do, because it's not really what they do all year. All year they played zone. I think they said on the broadcast they played more zone than anyone in the league this year, which I didn't realize it was that much, but I knew they played zone a lot from studying, preparing for this game. But here early on, they surprised me, and I think they surprised the Ravens by manning up against Baltimore, which has always been the preferred strategy against the Ravens. Cover 1 blitz has been a great coverage against them. That's what they're doing here. And watch Lamar take the snap, and watch how long he has. He has time here, right? He has time on a 3rd down and 2. That is plenty of time, but no one gets open immediately. And that's been the issue with the Ravens, right? Is, that's kind of why they went out and added some of these receivers and why they're trying to make, a complete offense like that, is to get guys who can win here. Right now, though, it wasn't working. And for Lamar, he scrambles outside the pocket. He still can't do this. This is an example of, the Texans tried to keep him in the pocket. This time not doing so well, but there's an asterisk behind it because, as you see, a ref throws a flag. There was a hold there, which I still think he could have gotten outside the pocket without that, but also, not being able to connect with Flowers, who was open after Stingley fell down late into that play. So when they were getting stops, this was probably the key way they were able to do it. Of course, Lamar bounced back. I thought he had a couple of good drives, relatively early on. Something like this, which is a good play by him, where it's going to be, actually, this is zone coverage. It's quarters coverage, though. So Houston playing very far off, trying to keep everything in front of them, which they still did a little bit. Again, not a ton, but they still did show these plays. And quite frankly, when you saw these plays, you kind of also saw why Houston wasn't doing this. Because watch how, while, in theory it works. Lamar takes the snap. He looks down the field, doesn't love what he sees. The issue is that there's not a lot of guys covering, shallow in the middle of the field right here. Lamar is going to step up in the pocket. The middle linebacker actually was covering somebody else here, meaning Lamar was able to pick up just an explosive play right there, right? And Lamar still always has that. And that's just, if you're playing Lamar, you just know he's going to hit you on those every now and then. You just kind of have to eat that and hope he doesn't make you pay in other ways. This play was a really good one, I thought, as well. Kind of, a simple play, but a good one, where it's actually going to be Derek Stingley covering Nelson Agholor one-on-one. And you see Aguilar's route kind of going over the middle. And when Lamar takes the snap, you see so much traffic in front that Agholor is wide open when he gets there. Stingley just has to go through so many guys to try and get in position. You can't blame Stingley. This is just, really, ideally, you probably want to switch here. You'd want someone else to cover Agholor, but that doesn't happen. Instead, you see that Lamar hits Agholor. They pick up a touchdown right there. So that's good, right? And those types of plays can definitely work against the man coverage, but, they have to be able to, you have to be able to hit them, right? You have to be able to make it work, and, the defense still can make plays the other way. Something like this was a good one, where it's going to be a 3rd down and 7 situation. Once again, it's going to be a blitz right here. It's that same thing, cover 1, so you got man coverage across the board, but you're sending 5 guys. Lamar takes the snap. This blitz is picked up. Lamar makes a throw, and that's really, looks like a drop by Agholor, which, that's not something you've never heard before, right? But still, got to make those plays, right? You just got to make that happen. Also, play like this, I thought, was just a great play call, really smart. So, again, they're going to be playing man coverage. It's, interesting situation where a passing play is coming right here with 25 seconds left in the half. I suppose you could run it, but, if you're Houston, you'd probably take that. You're okay with that. You see how I'm showing the edge rusher run a stunt right here. He's going to run towards his right and try and get in between two offensive linemen who are blocking other players. Okay, it's a good concept. This stuff can work. But what's the obvious downside in doing something like this against the Baltimore Ravens? Well, you have Lamar Jackson, who's so good at getting outside the pocket that if you try to run something like this, he can just get outside the pocket and then you're screwed. Your contained guy has been taken, away, and even if the defensive tackle tries his best to, keep containment, it's Lamar on a defensive tackle. It's a mismatch. So, okay, well, then what do you do if you're Houston? Well, it's simple, actually. They're blitzing, right? So they send a corner right there. He's going to go in, and he's going to serve two purposes. One, could get a straight shot to Lamar, but kind of the more important purpose here is to just make sure that he doesn't allow Lamar to get outside the pocket. Watch as when this happens. Pressure actually comes from somewhere completely else on the field, but I thought it was an interesting concept. That doesn't initially go down, but the corner is the one who eventually brings it down. So just good, pressure confusing the Ravens and getting those types of plays to happen, which again, for Baltimore, you got to pick those plays up, right? You can't let guys get straight shots towards the quarterback. I don't care if this is stuff teams don't often do. You still have to know how to do it. But then this play happened, and I'll be honest, I think you can make the argument this was the play of the game in many ways for Baltimore, and that might seem insane. That might seem crazy. What are you talking about? This is, you might not even remember what this play was, but this was what Baltimore clearly came out, in the second half with their mindset of what they should be doing. They weren't really ready for Houston to be playing a lot of this man coverage, but now that they're ready for it, they're game planning around it. You see Lamar takes the snap, and it's just a quick route for Isaiah Likely, who is maybe their best option at this point, best matchup. I'm not saying he's their best receiver, although he is a very good receiving tight end, but especially when you can kind of get him on the inside, he's not an outside receiver because, obviously, Zay Flowers, going to get a lot of attention, right? But Likely here, maybe getting slightly less attention, but still really good. I mean, the route he's running, look at how open he is. Not just that, Lamar hits him and, Likely does some great stuff in open space there. And the reality is kind of the main mindset of blitzing Lamar is you force the ball out of Lamar's hands. You force him to put the ball, in somebody else's hands. However, for, a situation like this, if the ball is just as dangerous in Isaiah Likely's hands, well, what did Houston do? They stopped playing this coverage. Baltimore was able to run the ball. Lamar had, a couple great runs himself, and that was kind of what opened things up. Also, this play was very fun. 4th down and 1, which, again, right call to go for it right here. You don't want to give C.J. Stroud the ball back. I know your defense is playing well. Well, hey, your defense is playing well. If you put them in a bad spot, they should be able to bail you out anyway. So this is the situation. They're going to fake a handoff towards the top of the screen. Lamar himself is going to run towards the bottom of the screen. That edge rusher for Houston, that's the key guy right here. And again, it's 4th and 1. You have to play aggressive, right? If you let the play come to you, well, you're not going to get a stop here. So I get it. But watch how when it begins, look at how far over. He's not thinking this is a quarterback, run itself. And, it's kind of similar to almost like a soccer shootout, right? You kind of have to just guess and hope that you get it right. Sometimes on a 4th and 1, with how quick these things are, it's not the worst play, but he guessed wrong. Lamar is able to blow by him, and he's going to be able to pick up not just a first down, but some yards after the conversion as well. Great stuff there by Lamar, and again, that was that back-to-back touchdown drives. They only had 2 drives in the third quarter because of how much time they took off the clock. The Texans only had 1 drive in the third quarter. I mean, that's just how dangerous this team can be. So yeah, those were my thoughts. Again, huge win for the Ravens. They got a real tough opponent next week. Whoever it's going to end up being, the Bills or the Chiefs. I'm recording this on the day of the game, so I don't know yet who is going to be winning that one. Either way, though, should be an awesome game. Definitely going to have their work cut out for them. But I mean, because you're in the conference championship, there are no bad teams here. Ravens look like a great team. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.